welcome to my second video with another 10 tips. So let's get started. So number one is to have a disclaimer in your description. So this isn't just for yoga channels, this is for any kind of fitness or any kind of video where you're instructing people to do things. It's amazing if you can get insurance to cover you for YouTube. I've personally found that quite a struggle. Not many insurance companies will insure you for YouTube. It's very difficult to know who's doing your videos. Now obviously you can still create yoga videos, but you do need to say that it's kind of at their own risk and put a disclaimer down the bottom. You can have a look at loads of other yoga YouTube channels to get an idea of what kind of thing to put in it. You can have a look at mine if you want to. And it's basically saying that they're participating at their own risk. As long as that is in there, you've warned them, the rest is up to them. You know, you could create a video doing something extremely stupid and somebody is bound to copy it somewhere. And obviously I'm not talking about yoga now, I'm talking about, I don't know, jumping off a building or something. Don't ever do that. But yeah, people will copy the most silliest of things. So just, you know, verbally say it. Put it in a disclaimer. If you can find insurance to cover you, perfect. I found one that could cover, but it was only in America. I'm in the UK, so a bit tricky. So yeah, number one, make sure you've got a disclaimer in your description underneath your yoga YouTube video. So number two is sorting out the title, description, and the tags once you've uploaded your YouTube video. So you've got a yoga YouTube video, you've done the thumbnail, which we talked about last time, then you need to add a title. So the title of this video should be explaining exactly what it is. So, I don't know, 20-minute vinyasa flow to wheel pose. It should have certain keywords in there that people are going to search to find your video. So, yeah, it might be a 20-minute vinyasa flow to wheel, but will somebody type that in specifically to search for that? Maybe you might want to put 20-minute vinyasa flow to wheel and then right next to it, online yoga backbending class. Something like that. Just adding a few more words in the title is going to get your video seen more. So then you've got the description. So obviously we talked about the disclaimer, so your disclaimer's in there down the bottom. I normally put a couple of sentences just about what the class is, then underneath all your links to things. So your website, your Instagram, your Facebook, have all of that information ready, because when someone's on that video, well, think about what you do when you're watching a video. I tend to put a video on and then I'll read the description as the video's going. So if you've got all this information in there, it's just giving them a little bit more, and then afterwards they might think, oh, I'll click on that link in a minute. So it's really, really handy to get people away from YouTube, not what YouTube want, but to get them away from YouTube and onto your website. And then you've got the tags. So right down the bottom, underneath all that, you've got tags. So here is when you want to write vinyasa class, wheel pose, 20-minute yoga class, anything, again, that people are going to type in to find your video. Now there is something called TubeBuddy, which you can get a free version or a paid version. I only use the free version. And when you type in a tag, you can double click on it and it will come up, bring up TubeBuddy, and it will let you know how good that tag is. So it will let you know if it's being searched often, if it's over searched. It will give you all this information to let you know if that is a good tag. Now, if you do get the free version, I think you only get something like 10 or 20 clicks in a day. So, you know, you can do the free version, then the next day just look over your tags again. Or you can get the paid version, which I wouldn't know anything about because I don't have that. Number three, on to the actual yoga. Stay safe while teaching. This is critical for your health. So while you're teaching in class, try not to keep turning your head to look at the camera. This is why microphones are amazing. As long as they can still hear you, you know, they're going to be in these positions as well. So they're probably not going to be turning to look at you unless they don't understand what you're doing. So if you're giving good verbal instruction, they'll know. So if you do have to keep turning, I mean, I turn to look at the camera, but as you do, be aware of what position you're in. So if you're stood up, it's okay to turn and look. If you're in some weird twisting back bend thing, you're not going to want to turn and look at the camera because you could do yourself damage. And with that being said, another thing I like to do is start the class facing one way and then halfway turn and face the other way. So that way you're not always looking in the same direction, okay? And another thing on keeping safe while teaching, if you are thinking of doing shorter classes and recording about 3 in a day, a good thing to do is make sure that they're all similar classes. So don't do like a back bending class, then a hip opening class, then, I don't know, something else. Try and keep them all, say, all back bends. You know, record a morning flow, and then do a vinyasa flow, and then do a evening flow, because that way you're also preparing your body and then cooling your body down. You're not just chucking yourself in the deep end, doing 3 really, really hard vinyasa flows, and then stopping recording and not cooling yourself down. Always look after yourself. Number 4, give enough time for your students to move. I have made this mistake on some of my first videos. I'm going way too fast, and when I've tried to do it back myself, which is always another good thing to do, I couldn't keep up with myself. I was like, whoa, I'm moving too fast. And that's me, and I knew what I was going to do. So my rule of thumb is, as I'm teaching, I will keep pausing after I've said something, even if it's just for a second, because it will just let people catch up. And then if you're going through a flow and you go into downward facing dog, stay in downward facing dog for a little while. Let people catch up to you. And then you can always say, rest in child's pose. So if people have caught up with you, they can then rest in child's pose if you're in down dog too long. Number 5, charge all of your equipment the night before. The amount of times that I have gone to record, booked out time, and my mics aren't charged. Yes, it's annoying. So make sure, if you know that you're going to record the next day, put everything on charge, make sure it's charged up. Number 6, leading on from everything being charged, make sure you've got enough storage on your device that you're filming on. So I record on my phone, so I have to go into my photos and back everything up. So I've got a Google phone, so everything just backs up onto Google. So I've got to make sure that I've backed everything up, because otherwise, this has happened loads of times. This actually happened to me yesterday. Go to record, you look back after half an hour's class and it's not saved because your phone has run out of storage. So make sure everything's charged and you've got storage on your phone. Be prepared. Number 7, keep a clock in front of you. This is so important. So obviously, if you're going to do a 10-minute class, you need to keep an eye on the time, because if somebody wants a 10-minute class and your class ends up being 15 minutes long, that could potentially pee them off. If they've only got 10 minutes and then they've got to stop your class halfway through, it's not going to look good for you and it's really going to annoy them. So keep a clock in front of you to make sure you can keep an eye on the time. And that is especially important if you're doing something like yin yoga where you're holding the poses. Luckily, if this is pre-recorded, then you can edit it, so you can drag out one side. If you've accidentally done one side for 4 minutes and then you've moved on to the other side of your body and only done it for 2 minutes, you could potentially edit that to even it out. But if you've got a clock in front of you, it's so much easier to keep a track on it. Number 8. Your yoga language. So try to bear in mind that you can have people from all over the world watching this. You might have beginners, you could have people that are really competitive, you could have people that are really, really flexible. You've got all these different kinds of people watching you, so you really need to be careful with what you say while you're teaching. So an example of this is, say like if you're in high lunge. So whenever I'm in high lunge, my lower back arches. So I always say, drop your back knee to lengthen out your spine, and put a hand on your lower back and see if you can feel your tailbone tilting. Whereas if you just said, lengthen out your low back, don't tilt your tailbone, if somebody is already like that, they might then overarch the other way. Hope that makes sense. So just to give you an example, say you were sat like this, and then somebody is overarching and you say, sit up as tall as you can, and they go, overarching even more. So just be really, really careful with what you say, because you do have people on YouTube who have never done yoga. They don't know any of these terms. You have to be really specific with what you are saying to keep everybody safe.
Hi guys, so just really quickly, while I was editing I realised I've missed off step 9. So step 9 is to clean your screen before you record. So make sure you use your t-shirt, a cloth or something, wipe your screen before you start to record, because the last thing you want to do is record an hours long class and then notice that there's a smudge on it. So clean your screen is number 9.
And the last one, number 10, is quality over quantity. So I know I said in the last video, you need to keep being consistent. You need to keep the algorithm knowing that you're there. So yes, uploading once a week is ideal. And if you can't do that, make it once every 2 weeks, but stick to that once every 2 weeks. Don't go for every week and then think, oh, I can't do another one. I'll just leave it a week. And then you'll notice then that you'll start slacking, basically. So if you can't keep the quality up, then space your videos out more. You need to make sure that your videos are good. You don't want to be just rushing and making videos that nobody's going to be interested in, basically. You will lose your love for it. You'll notice that people aren't watching it. You need to make sure you've got quality over quantity. So that's my other 10 tips for you guys. I hope that you have enjoyed it, and hopefully this is as valuable as the first video. Give me a comment, let me know. And another thing that I do want to say as well is just keep on being inspired by people as well. If you find you are constantly making videos and you end up not having time to do your own classes, then you may lose the inspiration, you may lose the love for it, and it's going to show through in your classes, in your videos. So just make sure you give yourself, I don't know, once a week if you've got time to do somebody else's classes. Look on YouTube, support each other, watch each other's classes and get inspired by other people. Obviously, do not copy other people's material, do not copy their entire flow, but it's really, really nice to see all these different teachers and maybe take a snippet from something. So I'll give you an example. I do Morgan Tyler's yoga, and she always goes into the lateral lunge onto the side, and I absolutely love it. And I never put that in my classes. So I was like, right, I'm going to do that. So, you know, keep being inspired. So that's it, guys. I hope you've liked these 10 tips. If you have got any more questions, then feel free to give me a message. And yeah, if I get any more information, I will maybe post another video. We'll see. If not, I've got my yoga classes, which you can have a look at. And yeah, hopefully I will see you again soon. Namaste.